1, 2,
2,
3. Here we are.
Very warm welcome all to this Facebook Live again, the weekly Facebook Live of Conscious World Agents, CWA. And my name is Arturo Massaro.
Oh, and my name is Claudia van Zuiden.
Well, and together we are the co-founders of CWA.
Yeah.
Every week, as I already said, we have a weekly live, and then we talk about the post we wrote last week.
This week.
No, this week,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And this week we wrote a lot about oneness, consciousness, but also the oneness. We are one. We want to share you a little bit about that, and at the end we also have an announcement, I think, to make.
We have an announcement to make, and we're also going to add something to this specific live session, which is a meditation. So after Arturo has shared one of his posts, I will also share one of mine, and then we do a short meditation.
Okay, nice. Shall I go first?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's great.
Well, oneness. What we a lot of times see when we look at television and we look at we read the newspapers, we listen to the radio. A lot of times what we see are let's say the negative things. There's war, there is a disease, there are problems, and there's also separation between people. And in this separation, we started to believe, because it was messaged so long to us, but also your parents maybe did this, and not at a conscious level, but probably at the subconscious level. Let's get it for us. What's in it for me? Mm-hmm. Thinking in lack more than in thinking in all kind of opportunities and in abundance. And as a child, we start to believe all these messages. And what's happened then is also that we are going to, our attitude is towards all these kind of behaviors that we don't like. So the what's in it for me is, again, thinking in lack. And what we need to do is change this. How may I serve? And how do you do that? That's the difficult one. We are all one. We come from the same source, and science is showing that now. And to be honest, already for thousands of years, the older civilizations are already saying this. We are all one. We come from the same source, the same energy. And once you really understand this, then you don't want to harm anyone else. You understand that if I harm another person, I harm also myself. So in this oneness, it's so good to go from me to we. And if you go for love, and you find the true, real love, and maybe go back to a situation in your life that you really experience true love for another person. What did you do? Was it for you then, what's in it for me? Or did you want to help the other person, to serve the other person, to give everything that you have, unconditional? And there you felt the oneness. And if we can do this with all of us, I think the planet will be much more in harmony, much more peaceful. And we are all feeling much more calm and relaxed.
Yeah, I hear you.
I hear you.
You all get very calm and relaxed already. Speaking about it even.
Yes.
When you become aware.
And it's almost the evening during the week. after a hard day work, 2 days. So maybe that's also happening.
Yeah, just nice. Yeah, thank you for that. Do you want to say something more about it, or?
Do you have a question then?
No, I think it might be interesting to say a little bit more about this where we all come from this oneness. As you say, we all come from the same source. How do you see that?
Well, basically that's what I want to share about in my second post after the meditation. Is that okay for you?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so we'll come back on that one. So thank you everybody who's watching. Lovely to see you. I see Alexandra is watching as well. Thank you for the wave. And really good to talk about this oneness. Because once we start to become more aware how interconnected everything is, we start to realize that our actions have an effect in our reality that we can't even measure. And we see that we are becoming more and more. There is like an awakening happening where people start to realize that it's not just me anymore. What I do affects others. So to find a way that we can do this in harmony, that our actions can be harmonious, bring ourselves in balance, and therefore also our environment, which is the home, the family, the work, and so forth. That is really then starting to create an awareness around that we are not divided, and we're not separate, but we are a unity. And indeed, like you said, science is showing this, that how interconnected everything is. And one of the things that is really important is to, for example, if I have a glass of water like this, that if I start to become aware that water came here because of so many people, but because also of what it's made of, and that I'm also made of from a lot of water, we start to realize that, we have to take care of this water, for example, that we pollute less the water, that we look at not just now, but also in the future for other people who will be affected by my actions, how I treat this water. So there's all these levels that we become more and more conscious about, and that will help to raise our awareness around how interconnected and how one we really are. And the more we go inward, the more we go into that inner journey, that inner reflection, and we start to become aware that we're much more than just the body and the mind. We also have this energy field. And that we actually start to connect with others through that energy field. There is also a sense of calmness arising. We can look beyond what's actually physically happening in our bodies and in our minds. We also become aware that on an energetic level we are also all connected, and we see that even now with some of the research is being done with trees, for example, how the trees and the fungi, everything is so on so many levels connected. So are we as humans. So we also have a responsibility to become aware of that. We have a responsibility right now when the world is actually in going through such transition to also become aware of our consciousness, and that we actually can become aware and more conscious about what we do, how we are living on this planet. And once we start to become aware and become more conscious that your actions can help to create a better world, you cannot go back anymore. Your life will become much more joyful. You can find a purpose, and you can make a difference, because you know that we are so connected that whatever you do can have a wonderful, positive impact on the planet. So that was my post was about. And I really feel this in my daily life as well, that, become aware that how I wake up and how I engage with others is going to affect somehow the energy or whatever, if I'm in a meeting or in a family situation and so forth, that is going to have an effect on that as well. So we are all connected in that way too.
Yeah, and you have a choice how to react and respond.
Yeah, that is that level of consciousness when you become aware. Thank you for sharing that. That you say, okay, I have a choice here. Am I going to react, or am I going to respond here, like we spoke about it before? Have that mindfulness moment in between how I am going to go about in a situation. So, and when you do that more and more, that becomes a new habit. And then, of course, that creates the new neural pathways, which is going to affect our subconscious level as well. So that was that basically, and if you have any questions around that, people ask us sometimes questions, feel free to put them under the session from today as well. And I would like to perhaps do a meditation now.
Yeah.
Short
Yeah, let's do
meditation when you can have that feeling of unity within yourself. And if you don't want to do that now, maybe you can do it at another time. Maybe you're sitting somewhere at the airport or whatever watching. So, but what this meditation is really becoming aware of our interconnectedness. So if you can just for a moment just sit and just take a few breaths and just relax the body and bringing the mind where the body is. I would then say, just if you want to close your eyes, you can do that. Just rest your hands in your lap and just take a few breaths and watch the breath coming and going just for a few moments. Just feel how you're sitting on your chair, feeling the body, sitting on the cushion or on the chair itself, feeling your feet touching the ground. Feeling every time you breathe out, the shoulders moving away from the ears. And just becoming more and more present. And just notice the thoughts that are running in your mind. Are you thinking of the past or are you thinking of the future? Without judging it, just noticing. Or are you actually here in this moment, experiencing this life just in this moment, experiencing the fullness of this life just in this moment. Just feel that. If you can do that for a moment. And every time when there's thoughts coming in that take you away from this moment, bring it back to the breath. And just become aware that, think of a time that when you felt there was a situation and you reacted pretty soon. But maybe not very skillfully, you reacted. Something, maybe you were triggered. And you just, straight away, you said something that was perhaps a bit sharp, or you did something that you perhaps regretted. And then think of a moment when you did something, when you really made a conscious choice in how you reacted. So you responded on the situation. Maybe you were also triggered, but you just had a reaction that was more mindful. And how do you think that affected the situation? How did you feel when you reacted in a mindful way, so you responded rather than reacted? And how do you think that might have affected the others that were involved? Do you think that was more helpful? Or the long-lasting effects more beneficial when you responded? And then just let go of those thoughts again, and maybe just think of one word that comes to mind when you think about how, when you responded, how this might have affected the situation in a beneficial way. How you created a more joyful situation, or a more peaceful or calm, healthy and loving outcome when you responded. And then just take a deep breath again. Just come back to this moment. And if you feel you want to share something about it, that's great. And if not, then yeah. How was that? You were laughing a little bit, was it?
Yeah, well...
a lot of thoughts going on?
Well, I wasn't thinking about the past. I wasn't thinking about the future. I was thinking about the car I bought.
Oh, today.
I bought a car today. It's an Aston Martin. But to be honest, it's from Lego.
Lego.
Lego Technics. So I'm going to, well, how do you say it? In elkaar zetten?
Yeah, put it together.
Put it together. Well, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm already excited to do that.
Okay. So how come you went to that?
I don't know. I loved it.
So this can all happen.
Yeah.
But did you manage to think about the things we discussed?
Yeah.
Or
Well,
was your
that's
mind
also.
doing
Yeah.
this?
No,
Oh,
really.
okay.
And the word came up was connection.
Nice.
Yeah, it was connection
That's
for me.
nice. Thank you. Okay, well, let's go then to our second post.
The second post. What was my second post? Oh, yeah. It's a little bit related to my first post. I already talked about that. It's what you see is that if people feel frustration, anxiety, or maybe they're angry, they blame other people. And as soon as you're starting to blame other people or situations outside of you, you will lower your level of consciousness. And as soon as you lower your level of consciousness, your energy and your vibration goes down. And this is what you radiate to the outside world, to the universe. And the universe will respond on that. And why? Because it's all connected with each other. And that's why I said, okay, I want to talk about more the science part also in this. At the end of the last century, they did some research. And they took one photon, and an atom is made out of photons, and one photon, and they divided it into two. So they were totally identical. And what did they do? They took one photon and they brought it 7 miles to that side, one photon 7 miles to the other side. And they triggered one photon, and so in total they were 14 miles separated.
Yeah.
So they triggered one photon.
Yeah.
And what did they measure with an atomic clock also? The other photon, 14 miles away from that, had exactly at the same moment, same triggerness and the same behavior as the photon that was really triggered there. And they call this entanglement. And what does it mean? Everything is still connected at an energetical level. And it doesn't matter how far you are. Because if you really go back and you take out all the space between all the atoms and all the stones and all the matter, all the stars, the planets and so on, and you would really push it together and all these spaces outside, then you will get probably a ball just as big as this. And this was the beginning. It started from there, and from there everything was existed. Is that the right
Came
way?
into existence.
Came into existence. And once you understand this really, then you understand that everything is made from the same matter, from the same energy. And it doesn't matter if you're black or white or yellow or purple or red. We're all same. We're all the same. And as soon as you are going to harm another person, you will definitely harm yourself. Only you don't feel it right away. And that's maybe strange when I talk about the entanglement, but it's also a hologram. And what's interesting in the hologram, if you have one picture and you will smash it with a hammer and you have thousands of these pieces, each piece, or each one of these 1,000 pieces, has exactly the total image of the first picture. And that is what is also with all the matter that you see right now. It's all a hologram from the source, the one source. why do I say this? Well, I don't know if you know Solomon Burke. He died, unfortunately, but he is a singer. He was a singer, a blues singer. And one of his songs was, if one of us is chained, none of us is free. And for me, that's so true.
Yeah.
We can go from separation, but we can also go to connection. We can go to hate, but we can also go to love. We can go to division or unity. All these kind of things. It's up to you. You can decide which path you take. Yeah. And as soon as you take the path of connection, inclusion, unity, love, peace, all these kind of things, you will raise your level of consciousness. And as soon as you raise your level of consciousness, you have a higher overview over everything, and you will attract also from the same energy all the things towards your life that you all wanted. And it's not the enemy that you're looking for, it's the harmony that you're looking for.
Beautiful. Very nice. Good messages this week, right?
Was this the science enough for you?
I love the science.
Okay.
I love science. And I love the non-science. So, but yeah, it's really good. I love hearing those researchers when they really can show. And we already know this. I mean, Western science is just figuring this out. But indigenous science has known this, of course,
for ages.
Forever. So it's lovely that we can now also say to the Western mind, look, science is saying that. Luckily, the indigenous people knew this a long time ago. And yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Shall we move on?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. I'm curious what you wrote. I read it, but.
So yeah, my second post was about the limitation of your finite mind. And how little we connect with the infinite mind. And what is this infinite mind? Some might call it God, some might call it your intuition or the wisdom within. So it's really connecting with that, and we don't often do that. So our decisions and things we do are based on what we already know. And when you actually let go of what you already know, you might actually find out some things that are far more exciting or far more joyful or filled with love than you could have ever thought, because we have only a finite mind, so it's quite limited. But when we let go of that, and for example in situations that can be challenging or something, you could ask yourself the question, what would my infinite mind want to do here? And you might find an answer coming to you that is coming from your deep intuition, your deep knowing, that you go like, no, that I can't do that. That's ridiculous. But if you would have the courage sometime to do that, whole new doors might open up for you, whole new ways of being, whole new ways of experiences. And those decisions can be really helpful for you to make. And also, have a much more deeper connection in your life, because what happens, they're both part of who we are. We have the mind, we have the body, and we have the infinite mind. And that oneness within yourself, if you start to connect with the oneness within yourself, whole new things can happen. So one of the exercises I gave to people this week was, for example, when you have a list of things that you have to do during the day, normally we tick them off. I first want to do this and then I want to do that. What I do nowadays is ask myself, before I do it, okay, these things I need to do, and then which one is the most important one that I need to do? Which one does feel the best? I really go into the feeling within myself. Which one does feel the most potent to do right now, which is going to be the most benefit for myself and therefore for others, as we are all connected, as we just said. And then the list, I might not finish that at all. Maybe just 2 things need to happen, and that's also fine. But that takes courage to start living like that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And but it feels, when I do that, I'm much more in balance with my oneness within myself. And of course, if we have to go to work and all these things, you will probably need to go to that list. But it's the other kind of approach then to how you work. You know, even at your work, you might have had things like small decisions that are not so set in stone, and you can feel it out. What does feel the best for me? And that's your intuition speaking. And yeah, that takes courage, but I'm really curious if you start to do that just for an experiment. What comes out for you out of that exercise?
Yeah.
And it really helps for me. It really helps for me to live much more holistic with my mind and my body and my infinite wisdom. So, I think that's actually what I want to go about.
Yeah, what I like about it is trusting the inner feeling that comes up. This will give me the most energy. This is the one that...
Yeah, it is figuring that out. And
Yeah.
it's not coming from your mind,
No.
as in it's coming from a place that is much bigger than mind.
Yeah.
It's not limited. Our
Nice.
mind is pretty limited.
Yeah.
So can you go beyond that limited mind? And you are then opening doors that are just completely different, probably.
Yeah.
So I would be really interested. What is the difference then? What you feel as well? There is a sense of freedom that comes out of there. There is much more unity. There is a stillness also that you find in there. You also will probably broadcast less. You know, you
Yeah.
become more calm. A lot of people like to speak everything they experience through a loudspeaker. But actually you go more within and you start to listen more what's actually happening inside you, and that I find really helpful. And your life could probably be much more enriched that way. So that was that one.
That was about oneness.
That was oneness, yeah. So next week we're going to have our topics about, what was it?
We discussed about it, but to be honest, I forgot it.
Okay, well, I'll have a look about it. We did write it down. We did so many things this week. Because there's more happening. We have an event coming up.
Yes, basically 2 events.
Yeah,
Yeah.
first an online one.
Yeah.
Which is the Experience Day, which we will be holding on
March 27th.
Yeah, and that's also, you can find that on Eventbrite, and you can find it on our website. And we have the next Experience Day live, so that means in person, on the 17th of April.
Yeah.
And that will be held in the Netherlands. So if you don't live in the Netherlands, you can join us also, but then you can join us online. And please go on our website, www.consciousworldagents.com, and you will find on the Experience Day page, you'll find all the information.
Yeah. You will find the information for the online session, but also the information for the physical one here.
Yeah.
And for the physical one, there is...
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There is an early bird.
An early bird ticket.
There's an early bird ticket. So and the early bird ticket is instead of 180 euros for the whole day with 2 facilitators and all the things that you will get there, it will be only 108 euros. But that will 10 days, I think.
So,
Yeah.
So it starts today.
It starts today, so it's 10 days the early bird, and after that, no early bird anymore.
That's right. And the online version is €67 euros. So, and that is just one fixed price. So if you want to book that, you can go ahead. That's online right now as well.
Yeah.
And then next week we have another announcement for our next guest speaker,
Yeah.
but I think we should speak
Yeah,
about it next week. That's quite
within
exciting
2
as well.
weeks, yeah.
All right. So thank you so much for watching. And we hope you really enjoyed it. This goes also on YouTube for people who are not on Facebook. So we'll share this film, or this, we've recorded it. This recording will go on YouTube. And we also have a podcast.
No, I forgot to... we have, all right, not this one. I forgot to push the button.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are still learning. No, but we have a podcast.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So if you want to listen to some of the podcasts that we've recorded, they will be available online pretty soon.
Oh.
So yeah, we look forward to sharing that with you, and maybe I can also put this recording on the podcast as well. But it's been great as a meditation. If you think someone can benefit from a meditation like this, then please share it with them. And Yolanda says thank you, Yolanda, for joining us.
Thank you.
Lovely that you were here, and have a wonderful evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world, and a good weekend. May it be restful for you, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.